Hello and welcome to another episode of the Talking Parra podcast, featuring on Apple and Spotify podcasts and also on the Entertain House YouTube channel. Tonight it is the review of the Brisbane Broncos versus the Parramatta Eels game up in Darwin. It is also the preview of the upcoming game, round 9, against the Newcastle Knights at CommBank Stadium on Friday night, 6 p.m. In the house tonight, we have M. Tatey from, I always get this wrong, Tate Sports Cards, or is it M. Tatey Sports TV?
Just go Tate Sports Cards.
Okay, Tate Sports Cards. We've got Hayden from the Entertain House, who runs our YouTube channel. We've got Joel from League of Inches as well. We have myself, Troy, from the Parra Cave podcast, and we also have someone who is really excited about this round that's upcoming in round 9. He can't wait for the preview of this game. He can't wait for this podcast. He's been talking about it all week. But Adam Martin, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. On top of the world. Had a wonderful day. I hope everyone had a good day out there, Anzac. Obviously acknowledging our soldiers and our Anzacs yesterday. But yeah, it's a crowded house tonight, isn't it? It's a very crowded house, which leads me into a segue of saying better be home
Good
soon.
band.
And we better be home soon.
Good band too.
Yeah, good house. But we better be, you've ruined my pun. We better be home soon is what I'm saying. And we better be no more games in Darwin soon. I've had enough. You know, I hate it. Every year I say, is 2 competition points really worth $1 million? And once again, I feel like it's one of those games we would have won at home. Look, I know there's a bit of anger around with some of the things that happened in the game, some of the decisions, coaching, refereeing. We'll get to that. But I want to start first of all. I actually wasn't too worried with this game. For that reason, I think it's my hatred of taking this game to Darwin. Like, I'll show a bit of respect and say, I know it's obviously great financially and it's great for the people of Darwin and obviously the community up there in Darwin as well. I know how much footy means to them, but they can travel down if they really want to. But it's, to me, I've had enough of it. Like, Parramatta versus Brisbane, first versus whatever we're coming. Like, we're down there, but we're starting to hit a bit of form. It would have been a great game to play at home at CommBank. It would have been a crowded house there on Friday night. And once again, I'm getting on the crowd. Is that the word of this week? Because I've just said it twice without meaning to. And I think we would have won the game because, like I said, I wasn't disappointed just with the fact that so much of it was bounce of the ball. Like, we've got 2 tries off 2 terrible bounces playing on a rock-hard pitch, obviously, due to the heat up there. That wouldn't have happened at home. Simple. That wouldn't have happened at home. And a drop ball, like, look, that just happens. That's part of footy. Besides that, they scored 1 try off a lazy defender that we've been saying for weeks should be taken off well before that stage. It's the only tries they score. It's just frustrating. And, you know, I thought we'd come back in the game well. We scored some good tries. Look, I'm going to set a rule here. We're not going to talk about these referee decisions to start with straight away. So I'll go around everyone and get their actual thoughts on the game. I'll start with you, Joel, because we'll go into a different talk about them.
I'll just quickly mention, just last week, can we not have a round of talking about drinking water ever again? Because I think I pissed about 6 or 7 times throughout the night. So
I've got you. I went 13 and I was still peeing till lunchtime. I drank 3 waters and 3 liters of water in that podcast in an hour. So
shout out to Mount Franklin if you're listening as well. We would want a sponsorship.
That was a stitch up. We ended up stitching ourselves up. We tried to sit Hayden up. So
he didn't even
jokes on us in the end.
All you had to do, Hayden, was say
Hayden had a nice water. And guess what, boys? I got some water tonight. Wrong night for it.
So do I. That's leftovers. Yeah. That's leftovers from last week. I haven't touched because I can't look at water. Anyway, Joel, continue.
I'm same as you. I'm disappointed, and I was obviously pissed off just about moving it to Darwin. I don't think it suits us. It suited the Broncos more than it suited us. And I think you mentioned it when we were watching it as well in the chat, was every time the Broncos scored, the cheer was louder for them than it was for us. And then we were supposed to be the home team there. So it's pretty disappointing. I've always said, if you're going to take a team there, take someone's one of the southern teams there, not the Queensland teams that are used to some sort of heat and train that in the off-season. So a dumb decision.
Everyone hates as well.
Yeah,
you take a team everyone hates, like, obviously I wouldn't want to take a Melbourne game there, but like Canberra, for example, like they're not big drawing crowds at home.
We
We don't pick the teams we play.
I know we don't. Yeah, I know. I know it's the Northern Territory government, but it's, the power should be a bit more to us in this situation. If we're good enough to take a stand, if they want to pick that, why are they not giving the Cowboys or Brisbane $1 million a year?
Yeah.
It's, to me,
They
it's
used to.
Well, they should be doing it, but that's just our club just.
Cowboys was the contract before us, I think.
I feel like that's our club though at the moment, is that if that was, say, the Roosters or someone taking a game away, they would get their way. They'd make a stance and make sure the NRL bowed down to them, where we sort of just go, yep, no worries, NRL. We'll do what you guys want and not actually put our foot down a bit more when we probably should be. So on the game itself, I was sort of with Adam with the bounce of the ball stuff, and then I sort of watched it again. I think we started pretty poor for the game when it was supposed to be a game where we're already on the short turnaround. So if anything, we've always heard BA talk about front-loading energy, and I just felt like it wasn't front-loaded at all, and I thought we let them get ahead with, especially Payne Haas. We know how good he's been. He was just carving up the middle, and Adam's already sort of mentioned it, and I don't want to go too much on it, but seriously, Hodgson, I just declared it's a dud signing. I don't care how people want to sugarcoat it. It's an absolute dud signing. Week in, week out at the moment, I reckon I can count about 2 tries each game that he's played in so far. He's cost us by being lazy in the middle. The attack, people say, is sort of there. I've heard fans say he's there to help with distributing the ball, things like that. Our attack's non-existent when he's on the field. It seems like we seem to be a lot better in attack once Hands comes on, and we're calling Hands to come on 10, 15 minutes before he actually comes on. So I just don't understand what's happening there. But seriously, like it's now been, 7-8 weeks or whatever. If Hodgson now still needs time to get his game in order, go and do it in reserve grade. Go and do it in a place where you're not going to cost us competition points week in, week out, where it doesn't matter if you make the mistakes. Like, we've got a bloke there now who's clearly has shown he can do a job for 80 minutes. He just outperformed our starting hooker last year, who led us to the grand final in a game where everyone was speaking about Reid, but he's shone like an absolute bright light. And it just doesn't make sense. Hodgson is offering his team absolutely nothing, and people like Hopgood and that have to cover for him, and then are making him out to look like they're the weak people in the team when it's Hodgson. Hodgson is just non-existent for mine at the moment. I'm still made him.
You're right. And I was going to go into another little Josh Hodgson segment, but we might as well do it now. Everyone's going around, and I just don't get it. It's time to bite the bullet, and it's like a little pride thing. I don't know if it's Arthur. Like, it could be politics in the background. Like, someone made the decision to not give Reid the money, right? I don't know who it was, recruitment, someone higher up. It could have been anyone. Whoever's made that decision to not give Reid the money has obviously made the decision to bring Hodgson in. So by them turning around and dropping Hodgson, they pretty much admit to the fans it was a stupid decision to let go of Reid. So that's a pride thing. It's all it is. So, Hayden, I'll go to you next. Your thoughts on the game, if you want to touch on the Hodgson issue as well while we're at it. I will highlight one more thing before we do that, though. You made a really interesting point, Joel, about other people looking shit for covering him. And I, obviously being around football, I've experienced that. And I know quite a few of us have played OzTag and stuff as well. It's one of those things, like you're man marking up and you try to cover someone else's ass and it's not yours to make, and you miss it, you look like the crap one. But it's also making players do extra workloads as well. E.g., look at Reg. Reg could have been pushing a little bit extra harder, which could have resulted in the groin injury. I know we're saying it's the hip drop tackle or whatever, but we'll get to that as well. But to me, it's an overworking load, most groin injuries. So, Hayden?
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Raiders fan Flash Blue. He gave us a $25 donation on our podcast. So massive shout out for supporting the Talking Parra podcast, and we really do appreciate it. Onto the game. As you mentioned, the attack being non-existent while Hodgson being on the field. Point proven that you have Hands coming on the second half, and look, you're down by a big margin, and we got ourselves back into the game, almost made it like an 8-point contest. So, I thought our attack looked very fluent throughout the second half. We kept the Broncos, who, look, we can admit it, they were dominating us with Payne Haas, who Joel mentioned in the first half, but we kept them trialless, which I think is a great achievement, especially in the heat. I know they took a lot of players like Payne off, but even when they came on, we still were able to contain those players. I thought Mitch had some good kicking options as well. And yeah, to keep them trialists in the second half, considering a lot of teams have been blown away and considering the start that we had, and to not concede, like 40 points like other teams, I thought was a really good result for us to lose the game by only 10 points compared to, 20. But as for Hands, I think it's a great decision. I just don't know whether he can stick for the full 80 yet. I agree with what Adam says about Hodgson being a pride thing, and it would be a kind of turn around to the fans saying, you guys were right, we were wrong, which they don't want to do. But I still question if Hands can play 80 minutes. I still think he's about that 40 to 60-minute player. So maybe even some cover of Mitch Rain off the bench. But I think we're probably going to see Hodgson there for the next 2 weeks.
Just on that, Hayden, how do you think Hands performed against the Dogs?
Mate, I can't remember last week, so I'm trying to remember the game.
I'd argue the fact that I reckon our best hooking performance so far has been the Dogs game. And
I think I agree with that, actually, the more I think about it. But can you rely on him for 4 games of first grade to consistently be a hooker for 80 minutes? Can you think one performance, whether it be home game or away games, he can do it?
I don't think he needs to, because let's be honest, Hodgson's not going to get dropped New South Wales Cup straight away. Like, there's an order you got to go down. And you were seeing Hodgson struggle on the field in that probably like that 25 to 35 minute mark, right? If he comes on at 30 minutes and has 10 minutes either side of half time, he's coming up against the more, either second string forwards or more fatigue players anyway. So it shouldn't be an issue. I have no problem with the start of Hodgson's games. I'm just making that really obvious. Like, at the start of the game, he's in the game. He's defense. He leads our line defense and he gets up there. But if we brought him on for that 30 to 40, then probably the 40 to 55 minute, it gives obviously Hands that big rest. And he's still playing 55 minutes, isn't he? So I think that could be an option to look at. Like we used to do with Brad Drew and PJ Marsh, and Mark Riddell and PJ Marsh. So, yeah. All right, Matt.
Yeah, the second half was very enjoyable to watch, but that's about it. I think you covered it all, but I feel like we got too relaxed on the 5th tackle, thinking the job was done, and they pulled our pants down each time. So I know some of them was flukes. I know there was a call where one of them shouldn't have been a try because he came within the 10 and wasn't ran onside by the kicker. So take that try off him. But yeah, I'm sure we'll discuss the referee issues, and yeah, I'm with Adam. I don't see. I'd rather 2 points and trophies in the cabinet than $1 million in the bank account, because we probably would have made that off pokey revenue and tickets and that anyway from having it at home. So
not if I was playing, because I'm on fire. Troy.
So, okay, the Darwin issue. Well, we have won 6 out of 9 games there, so it does seem to be a pretty good hunting ground, and we have beaten the Broncos there before. Admittedly,
the shit Broncos, though, not the tabletop.
Yeah,
yes, admittedly, we weren't the best of teams back when we beat them, and we have beaten the Cowboys there as well, when JT was playing for them. So, it's good what they do up in the community up there.
Can I add that was also a JT who went 1 year longer, and that was the year he went 1 year longer? And he should have.
You just did.
Sorry.
You just did. You just did. So anyway.
But then we took Penrith and Canberra in a Penrith team that was pretty average. I think Matt Moylan and someone else at the half and 5'8". A young Matt Moylan, and we took a Canberra team that was also pretty average. So
if the NRL is trying to grow the game across Australia, then where should Parramatta take that game if they're going to be
somewhere cheaper to book flights?
Sponsorship dollars.
I'd go to Adelaide. I'd go to Perth. I'd go somewhere. I'd go Coffs Harbour or somewhere like that. You're playing Brisbane, right? Let's say we're playing Brisbane. Coffs Harbour is a great place to play Brisbane. You're going to get fans travel from both. It's great for not only the game, but it's great for Coffs Harbour, Coffs Coast himself. They're going to get obviously people traveling for their accommodation that there. But to me, I think we've just had our run there. The run's over there. I'm all about Bathurst
or something.
Where?
Panthers.
Panthers go to Bathurst, Dragons go to
Panthers.
Mudgee. Tigers take a game to Tamworth, usually against the Knights. So that's smart. They take the Knights to Tamworth. I don't think they're doing it this year, but I know they have taken the Knights to Tamworth previously. It's incredibly smart because they're going to get fans travel.
I just feel like it's a bit of a cop-out saying we're going to grow the game when we take it to Darwin. We were literally in Darwin for 3 days. How can we grow the game by being there for 3 days? Like the NRL could do a whole lot better by being there. They've got all year round to send people ex-players up there and do a job. Like we literally, from what I've seen, we did a school session which we can do every day of the week, anywhere, wherever we want to go.
And we fed some fucking crocodiles.
We did a swine session, and then we went and did the crocodiles and the snakes, and we do that every year. How is that growing in the game when we're going and pat some crocodiles? Like, seriously.
I believe.
Okay. Well, I guess there's four out of 5 that don't agree that Darwin is a good thing. Anyway, to the game.
Hang on. The school session was 3 of the reserve grade players. So is it really worth it when they didn't even know who the players were? Yeah.
And are we ever going to get a Darwin NRL team? No, we're not. So it's pretty stupid.
I've got one more thing to add, Troy. If we are big on growing the game and the NRL wants to support growing the game, why put us on a 5-day turnaround the game into Darwin? Like, that's the stupidest thing about it. You know, they talk about how the draw, I know we keep mentioning the draw wasn't unfair. That's pretty fucking stupid though, isn't it? Like, give us a nice 10-day turnaround. They can spend 5 days up there patting crocodiles and kissing snakes and speaking to kids, but it's just dumb. Yeah, get on with the game. Time is money.
Yeah, $25. I think it is, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for that donation to the Talking Parra podcast. Hayden, what's the idea about that? What can we do with that $25? Can we maybe raise some money for charity by us tipping some? Sorry.
Yeah, we could put some. We could put. Well, what is there? 5 of us. We could put, say, $4 on our first try scorer, and if we win some money, it can go towards charity for sure.
Well, why don't we just do like one bet a week or something, or something like that? But we'll work that out after the show. But to the game, highlight of the game was obviously Mike Acevo's try. I mean, to grab that ball on the run and score like he did was unbelievable. He's got a good record against scoring against the Broncos. I just saw that Adam Reynolds' kicking game just tore us apart, and we saw that last year at CommBank Stadium. So it doesn't matter where you play Adam Reynolds, he seems to tear us apart with his kicking game. So
we haven't been.
I think that was a big factor, and in that first half.
With Adam Reynolds and Eagle. What's the stat with Adam Reynolds in a team?
It's ridiculous. I mean, even in his days at South, he used to have the wood on us. So just his long kicks, short kicks. I'm a little bit disappointed in Gutho for his Adam will love this, his effort when it was that Ezra Mam try. I just would have thought that a fullback would have knocked that out.
Are you saying
he was waiting? He was waiting. No, not saying he's X Factor. But an X Factor fullback probably would have knocked that straight out. That's what I would have thought. He was waiting for that to bounce dead, but I just would have knocked that straight out.
Dead and touch the ball.
Gutho's done that in the past. He just puts his foot out and touches it. I'm surprised he didn't do that.
Well, yeah. But he could have done something. That's what I'm saying. He could have done something to get that ball over the line, and then Katoni wouldn't have had a chance of trying to knock it back. We did see that it was not supposed to be a try anyway, but them's a breaks, because we also got one in the first half as well with that Shamozzle play the ball when Sean Lane came up with it, and then Gutho scored off the kick. So it was. We got one back there, so I don't know. I'm like you, Adam. I'm not as disappointed in losing that game. There was the weather to contend with as well, pouring, driving rain. But yeah, the effort wasn't there in the first. Our starts are our problem. We don't get off to that good start, and we try and play catch-up football throughout the game.
But the issue highlight there is the catch-up football we're playing seems to be more of our style. The football. No, sorry, I'll word that again. The catch-up football we're playing seems to be more of our style. And I think it's time we probably need to change it up. And it brings me into the approach of, obviously, we'll mention the Campbell-Gillard injury. I think we are going to have to change up our style a fair bit over these next 8 weeks by losing him. We'll get into that injury soon. We'll go to the player of the match first. It's a bit of a hard one this week, mainly based on the try and the effort he showed for the runs to get out of his own end. I'm going to give it to Sivo. What frustrates me the most is he only seems to be able to catch those attacking bombs and score tries like that in the absolute pissing down conditions. He's obviously done it against Melbourne. Now he's done it there in torrential rain. So he's mine. Hayden, I'll go yours next.
This is tough. It's between two of the forwards for me this week. One off the bench, one starting. I'm going to give an honourable mention to Adam's most hated man, Woodamoo Greg.
He's growing on me.
Oh, mate, 105 run meters off the bench. I thought he was one of the better, if not best, players for Parramatta on the field. But I'm going to give it to Ryan Madison. He made 34 tackles. He was playing at lock. He was getting very involved. Some great run meters. I'm going to go Ryan Madison as my Eels man of the match.
Actually made 42 tackles, but yep.
Ooh.
Even better, yeah.
So Wiramu, is he a cat anymore, Adam? Or?
Yeah, well, we're going to get to Wiramu when we go through the starting team.
Joel got Nelson for another 4 years.
I'll lock in Maddo as well. I thought it was pretty big, and he's just getting better and better as the week's going at the moment. So he might be a smoky for New South Wales the way he's going.
Oh, he had that last year, then got taken out, remember? So, Troy?
Yeah, look, I'll agree with you about Micah. Just that way that he just scored that try. Yeah, pretty freakish try, and his hit outs as well from the line. But I think Matt Dury was pretty good off the bench as well. Did some pretty damaging runs there, and one that he could have got away if it wasn't for the hip drop tackle.
7 runs for 74 metres, so above that, obviously, average of the 8 you look for, well and above. So, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to say Matto. Yeah, just Matto.
Just Matto.
Yeah, just Matto.
Wonderful. Before we move on to the next week's game, obviously we'll go through the referee stuff as well quickly, but I just want to talk about, obviously, our bold predictions from last week. Does anybody get anything right? Do you guys remember at all? No?
I was closest to the water count.
The water count? That's an important one last week. I honestly, I'm not got tickets on myself here, but I reckon that's the best poll prediction we've ever had. The most accurate one we've ever had. I picked the first points as a conversion, a penalty goal, and to 3 penalty goals. That just doesn't happen, eh? Doesn't happen. So can I give myself a pat on the back? Is that what 2 points was?
Put money on it?
No, I didn't. Of course I didn't.
First point for the penalty goal?
No, it doesn't pay as well as it used to.
Now we've got $25. Maybe that could be your bet.
No, it won't happen again. No, that'll be a same game multi for sure. All right, let's get on this one quickly and try not to repeat each other here because it's obviously we all feel the same. I just want to highlight because it's been everywhere, obviously, the hip drop this week, again, after some pretty terrible decisions. Probably the worst decisions of the round up there with the Victor Radley sin binning yesterday. But first of all, the Hopgood one. Look, there needs to be some common sense in the game. There's going to be accidents that happen. I know we've spoken about that before, but you got to take those conditions into consideration as well. It was absolute torrential rain. Players are obviously going to be sweaty as well based on the humidity up there and the rain. Blokes are going to fall off tackles. The issue I have is how much everything's changed. So the list of how you can't tackle now is a lot bigger than the list of how you can tackle, right? You can't shoulder charge. You can't lead with the shoulder to use force. You can't come in at the legs and cannonball. You can't pick them up anymore to drop them on the ground, which used to be known as a good tackle because it risks a spear tackle. You can't take them down by the arms. Where can you take a player down from? Really? Now, you work it out. Most tackles, most common and wrestling technique, we were doing it tonight at footy training, 3 blokes hold him up, right? The 3 blokes holding up are obviously going to be in the front. Where's the 3rd bloke going to come in at? It's literally, you can go from the knee up to the hip now, but if that bloke falls back on you with 2 people pushing back, it's a hip drop. It's just become too much. There's too many rules. And look, some of them, there needs to be some common sense shown, and one of them needs to go. Because We go back to shoulder charges. I know they're dangerous. You make contact with the head, but that's the risk that has to be run. If you make contact with the head like any tackle, it's a sin bin or a send-off, depending on how bad it is. But you look back at shoulder charges, there was less injuries in shoulder charges than there is now because the contact was harder, meaning the player would go to the ground easier. With a hip drop, they're just trying to get the player to the ground. They're resting the player around. It's like I said, it's just frustrating. I didn't think that one or the man one were that bad. I think they were the conditions. The most frustrating thing was obviously the Payne Haas one, which was the clearest hip drop, obviously resulting in the injury. And I think Ashley Klein's just a pussy, to be honest. I don't rate him as a referee, but he did not have the balls to put one of them in the bin. Like, he didn't want it to be 13 or 11. If we both had a player off at that time, Haas would have gone in the bin, no doubt, to be 12 on 11. But he knew we were coming back. They made that decision. We get another penalty and their 6 there. We probably score against 11. Bloody hope so anyway. And all of a sudden it's 26-22, 26-20, whatever. The referee will going to get blamed if they decide it wasn't a hip drop for costing us the game, costing them the game. So has anyone else got anything different to add?
I think the Hopgood one was on the side of him, not the back. So he dragged him down from the side. So
Correct.
technically, and didn't even touch the back of the leg. So I'm a bit confused about that one, where the other two were clear around the back. But I've watched some videos this week, and the amount of times you see a player now squirm in the tackle to try and get the penalty and try and, like, it was brought up on another podcast about the Dury one, and watching it back, Dury kind of did, like, claim injury to milk it before anything happened to the back of his. As soon as the player swings around now, you see him go, oh, like,
yeah, they act like soccer players, and we're doing it as well.
Yeah.
Every team's doing
Every
it.
team's doing
Every
it.
team's doing it now, and it's just like back in the day, like the crusher tackle. Everyone runs backwards and spins in the tackle, sits down, and then grabs their neck, and it was automatically a crusher tackle.
Let's be honest. Micah gets crusher tackled every time he gets tackled the way he carries on.
Yeah,
and he does the same thing. He backs into it. So
yeah,
I was just going to say quickly, I think this is going to be
Thanks,
a
Joel.
situation like Magic Round in 2021. I think they're going to just crack down on these fucking hip drops, and it's going to ruin it for people. It's going to be Sim Bin City Part 2.
God, I hope it's at Magic Round because the crowd reaction will be so fun like it was a couple of years ago. And then the best thing about Magic Round 2 years ago was by the time they got the Parramatta game, they proved their point, and we didn't get a sin bin. It was great. Joel, you come in and say something?
Yeah, look, I'm actually going to – I don't think it's Klein's fault because if you actually go back to the game, Klein didn't call any of them. He didn't say penalty at all for all three, and I'm actually with him. I don't think any of those 3 tackles are actually your textbook letter of the law hip drop tackle. But the worst one of all 3 was the Payne Haas one. And if the other 2 are going to go to the bin, which was by the bunker, they even had enough time to sit there and watch that 50 times while Reg was down injured and to still come up and say, play the ball, 4th tackle or whatever it was. Yeah. That's the real issue there. I don't think it's Klein. I think it's the fact that the people who are making all these calls, because I think out of all the hip drops so far, I think the referees have only given a handful out themselves in real time. It's upstairs. It's the bunker. And the bunker needs to seriously just start leaving the play to just play. If it's an extreme case, make the call. Otherwise, I reckon if none of the first 2 were sin bins, everyone would be no worries. Like the RCD one, unfortunately, it's an injury, but I reckon everyone would have got on with it and gone, you know what, that's footy. It's close to the line. They're trying to stop a big man to score the try. If that was us, if that was Paulo on Haas, we would have been going, great tackle, stopped him, perfect. I just think it's where the game's got to. And then the NRL's allowed this to happen because, and they've been warned this for years now, keep the bunker out of the game. It literally may as well not have refs anymore. It may as well just be a robot on the field and just let them talk through it. It's an absolute joke.
AI.
You're right, because most referees are like robots anyway. But I'll go 2 points you said there. Part 1 is you've pretty much highlighted the incompetency of Ashley Klein by missing them, because I saw the Dory one live as well, one on Dory straight away. I agree. They probably both weren't sin bins. I said that before, but based on one being a sin bin, the others had to be. But I think it was Triple M, most likely. It might have been ABC, one of them talking about it on Sunday, because this game was spoken about all weekend before every game, whatever you listen to, whatever TV or radio, whatever. And the point they made is if they're not that bad, we shouldn't be going back and sin binning. Just let the match review. If it's such a grey area at the moment. And they had Graham Ennersley on the radio on Triple M. And you had Gordon Tallis. You had, I can't remember who the other person was, whoever runs the show. Dobbo. Mate, Dobbo was tearing shreds off Ennersley, absolutely tearing shreds off him. And they were fighting with each other on air. And Gordy had to come in and make a joke because it was tense. And what they were saying, as former players, obviously, Tallis and that, they're saying they don't know the rule. If they don't know the rule, if the fans don't know the rule and the players don't know the rule, and obviously half the referees don't, unless they're watching on a replay, how can we be changing games with it? So I think the best way to deal with it, well, this will be our final say on it too, but the best way to deal with it is to, hang on, yeah, you're going to say what I said anyway, but the best way to deal with it is to put them on report and deal with it later. All right, no more sin bins because they are ruining the game. I agree with what Hayden said. I think there'll be one more crackdown. And I hope it's a magic game because that'd be funny as. So, all right, Troy, quickly, what do you got?
Okay, yeah, so I agree. I'll cause some controversy here. I don't reckon that any of them were hip drop tackles, and none of them should have been sin bin. It should have been just play on. As Joel said, Payne's trying to tackle RCG. If he doesn't make that tackle, he scores a try. And then the coach is going to tear strips off Payne Haas. The players don't, as you said, the players don't know the rules. The referees don't know the rules. Fans don't know the rules. There's just so much confusion. Accidents are going to happen in rugby league. It's a brutal sport. You look at the way RCG fell. I mean, how many times have we seen a player fall like that? That's probably the first time that we've seen someone fall like that. And the way that he did fall, that's probably why he caught that injury that he did, unfortunately.
It hurt my groin watching him fall like that, to be honest.
Oh, I think everyone watching it, I think it hurt them. They felt that. But
coming down on top of you.
I blame Darwin.
I mean, it's a brutal sport, rugby league. So you're going to get injuries, and players go into the games. Players go into the games, they know that there is a potential that they're going to get injured. It's not going to necessarily happen every single week, but there is that chance that they are going to get injured. And, yeah, half of them, as you said, Matt, they're looking for a penalty. Just, play on. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Let's watch this space over the next couple of weeks. All right, time to bring him in, Matt. He's been waiting there patiently. We're doing something a bit different this week. Right. Being obviously
We did reach out to Andrew Johns, but he did politely decline the invitation. So we do have his second cousin, Jeremy Johns from the Newcastle Knights.
Which isn't his actual name, may I add.
No, but it should be. It should be. Thank you for having me. I've just been backstage listening to what you've been saying, and it's nice to hear some Parramatta supporters with common sense. I agree with you, Troy, about the hip drop tackles as well. So, but again, thank you for having me on Talking Parra.
I think all NRL fans just kind of agree. It's just everyone's had enough of it. There's just the game's changing so much, and they're ruining a game we all grew up loving. So, look, we've done it different. We brought him in because I wanted to actually get a point of view. I get a lot of point of view of Knights fans when Parramatta are losing games. Jeremy's probably the only Knights fan that actually makes sense when he talks about us losing games and actually sees what's going on. So I thought we'd do a bit of a preview. And look, I'm very biased when it comes to the Knights with my hatred of them. I probably only tell the truth to Jeremy about what I think about it, so he's actually getting my opinions. So I thought I'd bring him in, one, to get a preview on he thinks about how the Knights are going against us, and two, obviously, how his team's been going, because they probably have been the surprise packet so far. I know they've only won 3 games, but that's probably more than they were expected to win at the start of the year. So firstly, let's preview the game. So I'll bring it up because, not that I've been studying it all week, but once again, a disappointing Parramatta kickoff at 6 o'clock on Friday. We haven't. That's my other pet hate. Darwin.
Jeez, they can't get anything right, is it?
That's my
Darwin, Thursday nights, playing Darwin off the bye.
6 o'clock on Thursday nights, and Wiremu Greg. That's been my pet hates for the year. So, but Greg's growing on me. So 6 o'clock on Friday, look, I think it's disappointing, just for the fact that we haven't played Newcastle at home since the first year stadium opened in 2019. I know a lot of Knights fans that would have liked to make the journey down because it actually is their closest away game. It only takes me an hour and 35 to get the games. They're not going to get one close to that when you have to go in the city. So Hayden, obviously, you come up from halfway as well. You know what it's like. But
why isn't this game on Saturday night? You got Penrith and Tigers, everyone to fucking fall asleep to on Saturday
That's because
night.
it's out at Bathurst, so they want people to travel out there. That's why.
Well, I personally believe it should have been the Sunday game. It's what's the Sunday game? St George and the Dogs and the Warriors and the Roosters. So,
well, that's
I
reserved for
hate
2
6
teams that played on last night.
yeah, that's what it is. That's obviously the reason they've had to do this. But I know even Saturday 3 o'clock would have worked. But you're probably right. There's 2 games this week on the Saturday that are at regional grounds. So you've got Canberra playing at McDonald's Park, which I believe is
Wagga.
Wagga, yeah. And obviously Carrington Park, Penrith and Tigers. So they kind of highlight that.
Growing the game.
That's all you wanted, isn't it? Oh. Anyway, let's get into the game. We'll go through our team first of all. Jeremy, I'll give you the honour of going through the Knights team if you want to get up after I go through the Parramatta one.
Appreciate it. I'm ready to go.
Gutherson at fullback, Sivo and Dunster returns on the wing after for some reason being dropped. We're still not sure. Penasini in the centres with Russell returning to the centres after playing on the wing. Brown at 5'8", and Moses at halfback. Probably our strongest forward pack, taking away obviously Reg, but we've finally got this second row and lock combination correct in my opinion. Lane and Madison the second row, Hopgood at lock, Paulo, Hodson, and Greg. Then the bench is Cartwright, Hands, Dury, and Makatoa. Can't see the 18 again, just going to assume it's Jake Arthur. It always is. Murchie, Ogden, Assey, and my other pet hate of Lumi being at 22. Jeremy, give us a Newcastle team. Besides
so we've got the excitement package, which is Lachlan Miller in at fullback. Dom Young, Gagai, Best, and Marju. Ponga starting at 6, whether or not he starts or they do the late benching to come on later in the game. I hope not. I hope he starts. Hastings in at the 7. Daniel Safidi. Crossland in at the 9, who deserves some raps with the way that he's been playing lately. Leo Thompson, Frizzell, Fitzgibbon, and Kurt Mann. Our interchange is Tyson Gamble, Jacob Safidi, Matt Croker, and Jack Hetherington, which I hope he plays a few more minutes. Would like to see a little bit more out of Jack. Known 18th name, but we've got Heimel Hunt, Jack Johns, Dylan Lucas, Adam Clune, woohoo, and Sammy Sazagi. However you'd like to say it.
You have got an 18 because he's hiding somewhere.
Hiding?
I don't know. I can't work it out. The app just hides him up in the top left corner at 18. That's why I just assume it's Jake Arthur every week. So looking at that Newcastle team and looking at our team, I know we say this a lot. I think Newcastle's strength is usually their forward pack. But you kind of look at some of them and like obviously Frizzell has got a fair bit of experience. Looking at our forward pack, but you'd think we'd have them covered. The halves, we'll talk about Kalen Ponga a bit more later on. But I know besides the experience of Gaga there, it's a pretty inexperienced backline still when you look at it, when you look at football-related things. So I'll go to you first, Hayden. Where do you think we win the game based on those teams?
Well, I actually think it's a battle of the wingers here. I think it's the try scorers in Micah Sevo and Dom Young. Dom Young, he's only been in that night side for the last 3 weeks after missing a few games early on, and he's shown some real good form. So I think the battle between Dom Young and Sevo as to who can score more tries, because it could be a close game at home.
Is that your bold prediction, Hayden?
Goal?
Yeah, I'm actually... The Knights backline really scares me, actually. I actually find it's a really strong backline. I've got Marju on the wing, Young. Miller's been an absolute package this year. He's been unstoppable. He breaks tackles like it's grass or something. I don't know what it is, but he just can't get tackled at the moment. So
I've never heard that saying before.
He's like, imagine we're in with Greg getting a bit tired of Hodson around the ruck, and you got to deal with bloody Lachlan Miller. I'm having nightmares already with those two in the line. So BA will have his pride at stake going, nah, they're 25, 30-minute players. I'm keeping them out till then. And then Lockie Miller will score a hat-trick in 3 minutes. So I reckon, and we say this every episode, there's a player that comes back and tears us apart. This week it's going to be Ponga. So I'm getting a bit scared about Ponga. He'll come back from his injury and just put us to shreds. But Dylan Brown, if there's a game for you to wake up, it's this one. You're against Ponga. Seriously, get off your holiday and step up. BA called you out the other week, and I feel like he's the sort of player that needs to be cuddled, and he's been called out. He doesn't like it, so he's having a bit of a sook. Mate, man up, get out there and show us what you've got, because you got your big payday. Now follow through with it.
Just
Hey,
quietly,
Matty,
I reckon Dylan gets quite enough cuddles. Just putting that out there.
Can you record this video and send it to Dylan, please?
Yeah, I'll send it to Dylan.
Before Friday?
Look, I meant to say it before, but you're probably right. I think I said it after the game last week. I think it's Dylan. It's probably his last chance to stand up, or he is due for a game in reserve grade. And it's not so much that he's playing terrible. It's the fact he needs to learn how to take control again. So put him in reserve grade, say, this is your team, run it around for a week, come back with that confidence. And he's just coming in and out of games too much and being too lazy, in my opinion. Troy, your thoughts?
One final thing on the lineup.
Yep.
I don't know. Can we please just have Dejan Arce have a game and just be able to come on for 20, 25 minutes and just run around like a headless chook? Because other teams are doing it and it's working. Why can't we just finally have got a player on our hands who can break games open with a click of his fingers? And we've seen him do it in the past. He's wasted. What's the point of signing him if we're not going to play these players who are actually got a bit of football in them, yet we just continue to play these people who are just robots and pedestrians? It's just becoming a joke. Like, seriously, like I told you boys I was fired up. But
Clearly.
What's the point of having Hodgson on there? We've got an excitement machine, have Hands play for 50, 60 minutes and have Dejan Arce come in and do a job. He'll do it, and he'll probably make up bloody 3 to 4 line breaks.
We're actually recording on a Wednesday night, guys. It's usually a Tuesday. It wasn't because of Anzac Day. It's because we need to give Joel another day to actually calm down. So it obviously hasn't worked. I'll send some Snickers your way, mate, and we'll
Thanks,
get back
mate.
to you next week. Go on, Troy. What do you got?
Yeah, look, crucial game for both teams, isn't it? Newcastle on 7, Parramatta on 6. So we want to obviously Parramatta get the win there, jump up to 8 in this close contest, this close premiership, and slowly climb that ladder. But I think you're right. Probably Newcastle's back line's probably an excitement machine at the moment. I think we've probably got them covered in the forwards. I think covered in the forwards, but the backs, mate. Yeah, it's time for Dylan to stand up and make this his man of the match game and take control and maybe make some line breaks as well and score some tries and some passes to Sean Lane and stuff like that. But last time we played him was in that.
Play football, is what you're saying.
In that last time we played, Newcastle was in that infamous Anzac Day jersey that everyone loves, with the poppies all over it. But look, as you said, probably the strongest back row lock combination. So looking forward to some points scored on the weekend and Parramatta getting the win.
Yeah, Matt, anything to add?
I think we just attacked our Marzu's wing.
Yeah.
Ex Parra Junior. We saw it in the trials. Just I think that's where we attack down that side.
He changed his name just to get away from his Parramatta Junior career. That's how bad he was defending. But you're right. Before I go, Jeremy and his thoughts, I'll go to the trial game, and they're pretty similar lineups actually. They've obviously lost their hooker for the season as well, but based on that, we killed them down that edge, and we weren't full strength in our centres either, not as strong as we are now. So I'm not worried about. I should have rephrased it. Obviously, I know the Knights got some attacking threats there, some try scorers, but defensively, I just don't think they're up to it. We've seen Brab and Best be turned inside out by our players before. Look, I think the record now is we beat them 40-4 and 39-2 in the last couple of games. We beat them obviously in the back line, scoring tries out wide, but we tend to beat them in that centre zone as well through the halves. So it's a no-brainer for me, really. I hope, and I don't say this very much, like you never want to see a player get injured, but I hope Kalen Ponga can string a run of games together, because And Jeremy Highlanders too. Even Knights fans are turning on him. He was used to be the most exciting thing at Newcastle. You know, you go to a game and Kalen, this. I brought him out and interviewed him a couple of weeks ago before a game, and the crowd didn't even react to him at all. There was no reaction.
Just get Joel to fire him up with a video.
But look,
Next week.
Our attack needs to be run at him because defensively he isn't up defending at 5'8". So I don't want him to get injured, but I want him to miss a couple of tackles. Jeremy, hearing what we've said based on our thoughts, first of all, what's your worries?
Just a quick one. I hate to say it, but Newcastle seem to be better without him the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
They almost beat Panthers.
Yeah. Well, now you've said that, he's probably going to come.
Almost.
Yeah, good job, Matt.
But we did.
yeah. Good job, Matt. You've just done that. You've said that now, haven't you? All right. Yeah. So, as I was saying, Jeremy, given what we've said about our team, what's your fears obviously facing us, and where do you think your team can get over top of us?
Yeah, I think definitely the forward pack is the fear for us. Your guys are, they're a massive forward pack, but they have excellent ball skill as well, and the experience is there in the middle. So I think that's where we probably have to step up, is in the middle of the field. Hopefully, Lockie Miller can scoot around a couple of your tired guys towards the end there. But my biggest gripe at the moment with the Knights is our conversions. We just cannot kick a damn goal, and we've lost 2 games because of conversions. The Penrith game, where we were probably the better side for most of that game, we couldn't ice it. And then the game last week against the Cowboys, again, that was a pretty even contest. But if we hit those conversions, we win that game. So I think that's where my gripe is at the moment, is just get someone out there that can kick a damn goal, and we can have a decent contest. But yes, definitely that middle pack for your guys is the fear for us. But kind of agreeing with what you've been saying around our back line, it is quite exciting to see them in attack. Your comments about the defence with Bradman Best probably hit the mark there as well. And if I was Parramatta, I would be heading my attack towards Kalen Ponga and making him make every tackle as we can in that game to really test out his defensive skills and lack thereof. And hopefully, I hate seeing him getting hurt. I just hope he gets his head out of the way when he is making those tackles, because we are a better team with Ponga, but we just need him on the park.
You're better team without him, yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. I agree. All right. What else we got to add? Anyone else got anything to add in that game before we go to our bold predictions?
How do we go under Chris Sutton?
We hate him as referee. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Jeremy's actually just hit a nerve with me today, because speaking about goal kicking, I had flashbacks to the 2 games we lost at the start of the year due to goal kicking as well. So, yeah.
Newcastle's got about 4 goal kickers, don't you?
Well,
we rotate through and they all miss.
Jackson, Kalen, Bradman Best, Lockie Miller.
Best? Have you seen Best's legs? There's no way he could kick.
Mitch Barnett was our other goal kicker, but we lost him.
Lost him to suspension for half the year as well.
Ken kicked him from the sideline. It was great.
Yeah. We're going to go. I was goal kicking at footy train night. I actually hit 3 from the sideline. So if the Knights need me, I'm available. I'll do it for Ponga's salary, because I'll probably last as long as him. All right, let's get on to our bold predictions. Jeremy, you get a bold prediction here. We're going to throw you one out there. It's obviously going to be different to everyone else's. A special guest. I'm going to go first.
Yes, my bold prediction is all conversions will be made this game by both teams. There won't be a missed conversion.
You got to pick a score and everything. We'll get you. Just hold off and listen to how it works, and then we'll go for it. All right. My first try.
It's gone off early.
Yeah, it's all right. He hasn't mentioned 2001 yet, so let it slide. 2001 we won't be mentioning, will we? No. Can anyone mute him? All right. My bold prediction, I'm going to go first because I've actually given it some thought. I'm going to go Madison first try scorer, just based on the fact that he is running at Ponga. And I think we showed our game plan, obviously, to run at Reed a couple of weeks back. And look, it's a no-brainer. If he starts the game, we've got to get at him, as bad as that sounds. I haven't given the score any thought. My heart wants to say that we're going to absolutely destroy Newcastle. Given our history, I'd like to. Given the way we've been playing, I'll say this much. I'll say we'll score 30 points because we've been pretty consistent at scoring 30 points. I think Newcastle will be in the game. I think we'll score one late. I'm going to say Newcastle 16, so 30-16. I think they'll give us a scare. I think they'll lead at some stage as well. And what else? My bold prediction. Shit. Oh, I don't really need to make one after last week, do I? Was this that good? Yeah, thanks, guys. You could have given me a clap or something. It was the best bold prediction yet.
How was it?
Yeah, it was the greatest one yet. It was like, you can't pay that shit.
It was almost as good as me saying 2 ex-Penrith players will score when they did.
It's no pick in the first try scorer, mate.
My bold prediction is for Parramatta's 2 wingers and fullback to score. There you go. So both wingers and fullback to score. So 3 out of 5 of the back line.
Oh, well, when you got Mike Acevo, what is it, 40 tries out of 41 games? It's probably a pretty good hit.
I've only predicted 5 tries, and I've said Madison is the first try scorer, so I've only got 4 tries left to play with. So, all right, Hayden, what do you got?
Yeah, I think we'll win this game back at home. Definitely think it's a danger game, but I think we can win it. I'll go 24 points to 18. I think it'd be pretty close. I'll go Sevo first try scorer. I think
Risky.
at home, crossover on the wing.
That's bold.
Bold prediction. I'm going to go towards the Knights here. I'm going to say that Tyson Frizzell will score a try and be sin-binned in the game.
Oh.
For pulling Junior's hair, or
I'll go a high shot on Mitchell Moses.
A high shot?
High or late?
Or late shot, swing an arm.
Pulling out Gutho's hair plugs.
Yeah. He's got them cut off now. Joel?
I'll go.
You okay? First of all, you okay?
Yeah, I've decided to talk again. I've calmed down slightly.
I had 2 zeros pushed. I was ready to.
Did you have a drink of water?
Yeah, I did. I did have a drink.
Water?
Jeremy, just tell Adam O'Brien, just tell your boys to run through the middle at about the 20-minute mark. They'll have a free passage for about 6 or 7 minutes until Brad Arthur gets his pride back into place and then subs Hodgson off. But
unless he puts Hodgson a little bit wider.
Yeah, well,
I'll just write that down. Run.
you'll be good there. So a couple of free tries for you, no worries. So because of that, Parra's going to win this 26-12.
Is that their free tries they're going to score there in that 5-minute period?
Pretty much. They'll probably be up 12-6 and then we'll come back. So that'll be fine. First try scorer, Dunster. I think he comes back. I don't know why he was dropped last week. No idea.
Simonson.
Absolutely stupid. Simonson obviously came back and did a lot. So that was really worth him coming back. So anyway, the bold prediction. Bold prediction. You know what? I've called him out. Dill Brown gets a double. Bring it on.
Because he was inspired by you, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to message him as well. Actually, why not?
And Maddie's going to send him the tape.
I can imagine that Dylan's there with one floor and yours aren't going to.
I'd bring him on, but he's probably playing Fortnite.
We saw earlier tonight Jack White and call out someone on Instagram, so maybe maybe Dylan might call out Joel. Thanks for the video, mate. Really pumped me up.
Needs to be a good promotion for the page, for the podcast as well.
I'll see you next week in Magic Round, Dill.
You're not going to do an Adam and call him a cat, or
No, I'll just see him next week. He'll be up here, so it's all good.
On holidays?
I can just imagine Joel down the front again in the game. Can you sign my jersey?
Hi, I'm Joel from the Talking Parra podcast.
He might do what Reg did the other day after we bagged him out and walked straight past Matty. So after signing everyone else's. All right, Troy, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to go 32-14. Parramatta to win. No surprises there. First try scorer, I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to go Sean Russell as a first try scorer. Honourable mentions to Will Penasini and Mike Acevo as well. He'll get across the stripe as well. And a bold prediction will be Parramatta is going to come out on fire and score most. They will be like 18.
Here we go. Like
What?
No. They'll be like 18-0 in front in like 12 minutes, and then
Let's put the queue in the room.
What?
Is that what
no,
you're saying?
they'll be eight. Like they'll come out like their starts have been ridiculous, right? So they'll just come out and blitz it in the first half, in the first like 15, 20 minutes, right? And be like 24 nil. And then
Are you having a stroke?
What is going on?
All right. Is that it? You
We're
done?
going to be
So-
18-0 up.
okay. Look. It'll be like
So
they'll
just
score
copy and
three
paste
tries.
last week.
Three tries in the first 10 minutes. There you go. That's bold.
3 tries. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
To who?
Who do you think?
Oh.
Parramatta.
Oh, you're off your head.
No, I'm bold, mate. I'm bold.
All
We'll
right, Matt,
see.
what do you got?
All right. Hang on, let me
Knights
write
on
this
12,
down.
haven't you?
Oh.
FA. All right, I've got Eels 36, Knights 12. I've got Junior. You knew it was coming. I haven't put him on a team on 12 for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, because we bag you out about it every time you do.
Yeah, so now I'm going to do it.
Yep, right.
I've got Junior first try scorer. And because he's starting at lock, I got Hopgood 3 try assists.
I was going to say 3 tries. Like, Jesus, put the bet
In
on
the
that.
first
Hasn't even
5
scored
to 10
one yet.
minutes.
Huh?
In the first 5 to 10 minutes.
All right. We're going to give Jeremy one. So we
Yeah,
obviously know
all
which way it's going to go, but let's go.
All right, first try scorer. I've got Phoenix Crossland diving through the legs of Hodgson on the line. So
That'll
Hang
be
on,
come up.
hang on. Before you go on, do you know that any team that has conceded a try to Phoenix Crossland at 9 has never won the comp? So Penrith can't win it. So if that happens, we can't win the comp.
you're done.
We're done. Yep.
I've surprised, shock and awe. I've got Knights 26-22 victors. But I think it's going to be a late run of points for the Knights coming home with a wet sail. And my bold prediction, apart from the conversions, is Greg Marju double.
You're right.
Bold.
Bold. Yeah, picking a
So
winning
they-
score double bold.
So
That's something we
Newcastle,
expect from Hayden.
Newcastle are going to come home with a wet sail after Parramatta score all their points in the first 10 minutes.
That's right. 3 tries early.
that's actually possible the way we played this year. All right, that's all we've got time for this week. So hopefully everyone can get out the game. Look, the game we played against Cronulla, there's about 18,000 there for a Friday 6 o'clock kickoff. I know the fans are probably a bit more optimistic at that time. I actually know quite a few Knights fans that are coming down for the game, but I said they've probably cost themselves 6,000 or 7,000 people at this game by having it on a Friday at 6 o'clock. But that's footy.
Sunday they got the A-League grand
here
final
that
there
can't
anyway.
go.
So
Hey,
Sunday they got the A-League grand final on at Combank
The women's,
Stadium, so
yeah,
they couldn't
yeah.
have a Sunday.
what are you saying, Hayden?
I was saying out of the 7,000, there's I can't fucking point, but there's 2 here that can't go, myself and Troy. So
Yeah.
out of the 7,000, 2
Who's
loyal
getting the box
fans
ticket,
won't be
Troy?
Sorry?
Who's getting the box ticket, Troy?
I'll see. I'll see.
So, all right, that'll do. See you next week. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you very much
Goodbye,
for
Joel.
listening and watching to the Talking Parra podcast. You can find the audio on Spotify and Apple, and the visual video, which has got some great laughs through it this week, on the Entertain House YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you at the game. Go Parra.
Go Parra.